Hello, my beautiful people. Happy Wednesday. Today we have another superstar guest. Her name is Amber-Lee Lyons. And Amber is a Chakra and Reiki expert, your spiritual BFF, and the founder of Chakra Girl Co, a company on a mission to make chakra balancing mainstream and bridging the gap between gurus and Gucci, all with a glass of Malbec in the hand. She believes you shouldn't have to compromise your love for all things material in order to be spiritual, and has inspired thousands of women to tap into their chakra energy to live their glitziest lives. Amber-Lee is attuned in Reiki and certified level 2 Reiki practitioner. She studied Kundalini Yoga under Gloria Latham and uses the teachings, meditations, and chakra work with her clients. Amber-Lee has developed her own form of energy healing, Chakra Activations, that utilize a combination of crystals, meditation, visualizations, Reiki, and light work to retrain the subconscious mind and expand the vibration of your soul to attract desires in the physical realm. Amber-Lee's podcast, Chakra Girl Radio, is an uncut look into the lives of today's influencers to share their best spiritual and lifestyle rituals that have allowed them to create glamorous lives and overcome the chaos and meltdowns that come with success. Amber-Lee is also sharing her weekly chakra tips, favorite products, wild manifestation stories, and reality TV updates so you too can be glam and grounded AF. Hey Amber, did I leave anything out?
Not really, just that I love helping goddesses live their best lives. That's my jam.
I love that. I love that. Okay, so today is very special. I have here, everyone knows her as Chakra Girl. We have been getting to know each other and she is a lot of fun. She's more than just Chakra Girl. So tell us how you got into the industry. Like, tell us the story.
Yeah, so I was a hot mess in my 20s, as a lot of us are. And I was not healthy mentally, physically, spiritually. And so I went on my little journey, and I started with yoga. I always say yoga is like the gateway drug. And I started realizing that I had trouble being still, and I found like there was always this big lump in my throat. And I had no idea what that was. So I ended up asking one of my yoga teachers, and she said, that's your throat chakra. It's blocked. You need to, get some crystals. So I went on a deep dive and started doing my own research and buying my own crystals. And I slept with an aquamarine crystal on my throat every day for 2 weeks, and I did like a specific throat chakra meditation every day for 2 weeks, and it was totally gone. Like, it was totally clear. And the other thing with the throat chakra is that unlocks your potential and your purpose. So I immediately was like, I need to share this with the world. Like, why doesn't anyone know this? And this is a long time ago. Like, this is like 8 years ago, when it was not accessible online, and anything that you found on YouTube or by Googling it was from old, hippy dippy,
Yeah.
kind of Birkenstocky vibe. Birkenstocks are back. Okay, I recognize that. But I'm just trying to describe the vibe. And I was like, I want to create something that's attainable, fun, makes it cool, doesn't make it daunting. And so the first business I actually started was a chakra, crystal, and gemstone jewelry business. So I was helping women, just kind of like introducing them to crystals and introducing them to how they can heal themselves. And it included meditations and stuff like that. And one thing that I noticed right away was that I got so many people contacting me, asking me, how did you balance your chakras to start your business? Like, I have this business idea, or I have these dreams and these goals, and I just feel so stuck. And what I really quickly realized was that as I launched my business, it required me to tap into each chakra in sequence. So it's like when I was building the foundation of my business, I had to tap into my root chakra. When I was creating my brand, I had to tap into my sacral chakra. So I was like, there's something to this. And I started helping women from that perspective and creating programs and courses for them to not just heal themselves, but to step into like an infinite version of themselves led by service and purpose.
Wow. That is amazing. I love that. And I love that how you described like how it was back in the days when you couldn't, like, it was like this yogi that was like 110 years old.
Yeah.
And also, like, I want to touch upon that because you are like the modern chakra girl. Like, if someone saw you, like, I hope, you know, whoever's listening is watching, because we have this on record too. You're beautiful, right? And so when you think of someone, you're welcome. When you think of someone who's spiritual, you think of someone who is not glamorous, who's not pretty, who doesn't care about her appearance or his appearance, not, you know, not to be sexist, but you are like what I would describe the modern day goddess, right? Like you're beautiful. Like, let's just call it.
Well, and that's the thing too. It's like, I remember, you know, back in those days looking in the mirror and being like, I don't look the way I am supposed to look. Like, I know this isn't what I'm supposed to look like. I know that there's, you know, more beauty in there. And it wasn't from a place of shaming myself. It was from a place of discovery. Like, how can I find the true me on the inside so that that can radiate on the outside? And I love what you do, because it talks about how we can take these physical symptoms and then use those to start on our journey. And for me, the reason I started going to yoga in the first place was because I was gaining weight from partying all the time. And then what I discovered was that the problem wasn't the 4 a.m. pizza. The problem was how I felt about myself and why I was partying all the time. So that's what I love about what you do. And that was a big part of my journey as well.
And that's a great segue to ask you, what does beauty mean to you?
Beauty means really just radiating your infinite goddess energy, you know, from the inside to the outside. And we have so much power, so much potential, like so much radiance inside of us. And our chakras literally just get blocked with all these insecurities, traumas, programs that don't serve us. But our true selves, our innate selves, like we are goddesses, like we are legit goddesses.
Yes.
And when we can release, and I always say, like, chakra work is not about like doing, it's about being. And to be yourself, it's about unlearning and unprogramming those things. So it's more about a release so that the true self can shine through. It's not about, okay, I'm going to do these things and then I'm going to be beautiful. It's, I'm going to be myself and then I'm going to manifest that beauty.
Yeah, I love that. Amber, what would you tell someone, like, when they hear the word goddess, they're like running away. They're like, that's not me. That can't be me. Like, you need to be like a Victoria's Secret model. Like, what, you know, like, what would you tell that girl?
When we look at the ancient goddesses, like, I wouldn't say they're like textbook, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not that Victoria's Secret model image. It's the energy that they represent. And this is something that you and I spoke about on my podcast was I asked you, how much do you think that our vision of beauty is programmed from the media and from magazines, and how much do we think is an innate attraction, like energetic attraction? And the true beauty is that innate energetic attraction. You, like, everyone, no matter what you look like, even if you're, you know, feeling like you're at your worst, and but you're having a good day and you're vibrating at that amazing energy. Like, if you're feeling on point and you're feeling radiant and you're like emoting love and like expression and fully embodying who you are, people are going to turn their freaking heads when you walk into the room.
Yeah.
And that's what, you know, that's what beauty is. It's that energetic attraction.
So that's what you mean when you mean goddess, right? You were talking
Totally. That's what I mean by goddess. It's like, it's not that you have to be like wearing a flower crown and frolicking in a field like as a Victoria's Secret model. It just means that you have your inner goddess, that innate I call it goddess magnetism. So your magnetism and your radiance is what, like, literally makes you a magnet. Like, people are drawn to your energy, and we all have that, and it's going to look different for everyone.
I love that. And can you share with us the journey that you took to get you there? Because I think even before we spoke about this, it all sounds beautiful. Chakras and stones, and everyone's into stones, and like, but what's the journey? Because it's not as beautiful as it seems, right? Like, it's a lot of hard work. It's like that butterfly. Like, I don't know, people don't realize, like, when the butterfly goes into the cocoon, it's actually like melts, and it's
yeah, like
painful.
decomposes.
Yeah. And then it comes out, but it was like really painful for that little caterpillar. So tell us your journey.
It started in kind of like my early to mid 20s. And it took a long, I mean, like it's a forever journey, right? Like it doesn't end,
right?
But it's a lot of inner work. I do a ton of shadow work. I do daily rituals, like literally daily. And there's shadow periods where there's a lot of darkness that has to be worked on, whether it's, I know for myself, like there was a lot of bad patterns in relationships, and then that spilled over into how my relationship with my finances, and that spilled over into my relationship with my body. And so when I always say, how you do one thing is how you do most things. So when we can look at those energetic patterns and be real with them, which is uncomfortable, which doesn't feel good. No. That's the work we have to do. So there was a lot of counseling, there was a lot of energy work and healing, a lot of reading. And when anyone thinks back on their journey of the most pivotal things that changed their lives, it was when something bad happened.
Yeah.
And then you came out the other side of it. The universe shows us multiple times what we need to fix. And we have to listen to it when it's a whisper rather than when it's a scream or a smack in the head. It was wanting to blame other people, which I guess is stubbornness, or blaming situations and not owning that I had, not taking my power into account and knowing, hey, you can change this. You don't have to work this shitty job. You can, step out of your comfort zone. And that takes a lot of work.
Yeah. Would you say that there was some ego death involved into it, in the stubbornness? I feel like there's always an ego there because that's what's keeping you stubborn. You're no, you want to win.
Yeah, totally. I really thought that I was meant to be in the fashion industry, and I surrounded my identity around that. And so ego is, our false sense of identity. So for me, I was really clinging on to that and applying for shitty job after shitty job after shitty job, or whatever it was, all the patterns. And that was because I was clinging on to this old identity of me who was a victim, B, meant to be this fashion superstar, and C, got to blame everyone else for not being there.
So what propelled you to what was it that you're because sometimes when you're in there, in the moment, you don't realize that it's whispers or taps or then a scream. So what was that moment for you that you were oh my God?
Yeah. For me, my journey revolved a lot around my life's work, whereas I think a lot of people, their journey revolves around relationships, or maybe it's a breakup or something like that. For me, mine was more around my life's work and what I wanted to share with the world and how I wanted to help people. And so for me, it was my kind of okay, I'm 100% going for this moment. There was this girl who I'm actually friends with today, which is really funny. And we were gonna the company I worked with, we were gonna share an office space with her company. And she was my idol. I was she had a gemstone jewelry business, and I was oh my God, she's so cool. I want to be her. And then I was what am I doing? I was the universe is literally showing me, this is what you can have. This is the life you can have. And this is what you're settling for. This is how you're being treated and allowing yourself to be treated. And so I really had to decide in that moment, because everything's a decision. So I had to decide in that moment that I wasn't going to allow myself to repeat this cycle over and over again.
That was interesting. And I'm so proud of you for recognizing that, because a lot of times it you're just oh God, and you just kind of go, put your tail between your legs and go back to the job. And then it gets it'll be worse than a car crash, worse than being embarrassed in front of
totally.
Someone you look up to.
Yeah.
And you guys are friends still, so
yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I know. It's so funny. I actually had her on my podcast, and I told her the story on the podcast. She was oh my God, that was you. And then we remained really good friends after that. So, and now we're going to be working together. She's actually going to be helping me with some stuff in my business. So
nice. Look at that. Awesome.
Full
Awesome.
circle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
full circle. Wow. Look at the way the universe works. So anything, like, before we move on to the next like part of this, anything that you want to add to that journey? Like, for, I feel like you're very intuitive.
Yeah.
So I feel like you got the signs. Like, that may take like, I know people who are in their 60s and they still, like, I could see them and I could see, like, oh, I could see that there's a pattern here. Every 5 years the same thing is happening to you. And they don't get it, and they're like, why, that victim mentality.
Totally.
Anything that you can like spark up or bring to light that would help anyone who is like in that victim, like, why me, why me?
Kind of bringing it back to purpose, because when people are in that place of the victimhood, it's a place of unworthiness and not feeling your power, right? So if you want to understand your true power, and this is kind of what I was talking about before, is like, that's already in there. So that love for yourself, that version of you that doesn't need to, make yourself the victim, that's already in there. She already exists. So in order to bring her to light, I truly believe that like living your purpose is kind of the baptism by fire, right? Like, that's jumping in the deep end and like allowing all the shadows to come up and having that acute awareness to them. So I always suggest and tell people to ask themselves, if I could teach the whole world one thing that changed my life the most, what would it be? And when you ask yourself that question, you can look at, okay, when this thing happened to me, or when I got from point A to point B, or I got on that other side of trauma, even if you're not 100% there yet, you can look at that and reclaim your power. Like, wow, I got myself on the other side of that. And then you can see your power and you can see, okay, so if I got myself out of that, look, when I'm making myself a victim in this other situation, how can I decide that I can get myself out of that? What are the things that I can implement, or the tools that I can implement that I used the first time to get myself, back to my true self, and what do I need to release, and who do I need to show up as? And I think it's all about just it's like a reclamation of the power that's already there.
I love that. That's beautiful. And if you're listening to this, put this into action, guys. She just gave you some spark notes to life. Take some notes. And if you're driving, screenshot it, and then you can go back to, to when she said it. Amber, so I want to talk a little bit about, this is a beauty podcast, obviously, and you're gorgeous and you do amazing work. Thank you. You're welcome. So I want to talk a little bit about the beauty circle. I want to bring it back to, I want to know where you excel. I feel like I know, but I want to ask you, where do you excel in? And then where do you like need some extra help?
Okay, so spirituality, obviously. Excel. Yeah, like I said, I'm like every single day I'm at my altar. If I can't make it to my altar, I'm meditating in the shower. Like, there's always soul connection every single day. Skin and water. I drink a ton of water, and I've been blessed with amazing skin. So I'm going to give myself a gold star on those ones. Where I'm lacking, maybe TMI, but we're going there. Bowels. I told you before, I'm so constipated.
Love you for saying
And
that.
it's only since this surgery. So I will say I've been using, and then I looked at the other thing that I thought I was lacking the most, which is relationships. So what now I've been kind of looking at is like, how can I use my spirituality, which I know that I'm really good at, to start, working on relationships more. And that includes relationship to myself, relationship to my body, relationship to my partner, my family. I'm a little bit of a lone wolf. And that comes from a place of feeling like I can't depend on people. So I've always just carried the weight of everything on my own, which then blocks out opportunities to be supported. So that's something that I'm definitely working on. And maybe when I figure that out, I can finally have normal bowel movements.
I don't think that's it all the way. We're going to get you there. But I relate to that actually, because I have the same issue with relationships. I am a lone wolf, and because I feel like I haven't been supported, that even if I ask, like, it won't happen. So I just don't ask, but then I'm missing out.
I have not a lot of tolerance for imperfection. And I'm the same way with myself, because it's like I have a lot of like high expectations for myself, and then I have high expectations for other people.
That's why we vibed. We have that same.
Totally. Yeah.
I'm so much like that. Oh my God. But going back to your constipation, and if you want me to stop talking about this, we can.
No, I'm an open book.
You said it only happened after your surgery. So I
Yeah.
don't think that this lone wolf mentality happened
No.
after, like only
No.
after your surgery.
True.
So
True.
could be like the medications, your body mourning your like invasion of your cells.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like going into your sphere, right? So
Yeah.
think about that for a second.
Yeah. I'm doing lots of like trauma release. Have you heard of NIS?
No.
I wish I knew what it stood for.
NIS?
Like, I go every week, but I have no idea what it is. It's like neuro something. But it's essentially like a reprogramming of the nervous system. And it's so the guy that does it for me, he also does acupuncture. I assume that it uses the meridians, because he's like tapping. He'll be like tapping on my head, tapping on my chest, like tapping on different areas. And I've done tapping myself. I've done lots of EFT tapping.
Yes. Okay.
But this is different. He'll kind of like ask me a question, and then I'll answer it, and he'll like tap on different parts while I'm
Oh,
answering.
I've done that, but I don't know the name of it. That's freaking amazing.
Yeah, so the reason I went was because I realized like I have trauma stuck in my body from this surgery. So yeah, I started doing that. So we'll see if that gets things moving.
I think so, but I feel like you might have other tricks up your sleeve that are gonna
Yeah,
help you.
definitely.
gonna
I
help
have
you.
all the tricks.
Yeah, I'm positive, and you have a pretty great diet.
Yeah.
I've seen some of your breakfasts. What do you have for breakfast? Tell us. Share with us your perfect skin, food routine.
Okay, perfect skin food routine. So I intuitively fast. So I don't necessarily eat breakfast for the sake of eating breakfast, because I'm really not hungry in the morning. And if I eat, I will be very low energy. So I usually will have like a smoothie around like 11, and I use the Agent Nature Holy Mane collagen and the Agent Nature adaptogens as well in there. I do have coffee. I was not a coffee drinker until like recently. I would say maybe like a year ago, and now I do have like one espresso a day, and I usually put fiber powder in it. And then I do for lunch, I'll do some kind of, usually like a salad, veggies. I do a lot of soups, like vegetable soups. I've been trying to be more plant-based, but I haven't fully cut out meat. But the reason I did it was because I was like, okay, I know that vegetables and plants only stay in your body for one day, and whereas meat really stays there for a while. And I was like, I need things getting out as quick as they can. So I have been being mostly plant-based. The main things for my skin would be that collagen powder, and I eat a lot of avocado as well. And yeah, those are kind of the main things for me.
Avocados are good and yummy.
Yeah.
I mean, all the stuff. I've seen the soup that you made from Asian Nature. I think she posted it, like
Yes,
the morning
yeah.
broth, or what is it called?
Morning. So it's a morning green. It's essentially like a warm green smoothie. Like it's just like basically like steaming every green vegetable that you have, and then blending it. And you can put a little bit of broth if you want for flavor, or a little bit of garlic, and it's delicious. Like it's like a green blended soup. And I was doing that instead of smoothies for a while as well. I kind of like I eat intuitively. Like sometimes I'm like I want something cold and fresh, and sometimes I'm like I want something warm and comfortable. So if I want a soup, then I'll do that, or I make just like a chicken soup. Today I'm making a Romanesca soup. So yeah, I'm all about the soups.
I see that.
Yeah.
I like that. That's really good for you. No wonder why you're always grounded and like you're like zen, like chill, like okay,
For the
whatever.
most part. My husband would not agree, but
They never do. That's okay.
yeah.
So wait, so do you ever have cheat days? Like, like right before your period, or like,
okay.
those times you're like, I
I'm
need a
making
freaking
myself,
ice cream.
yeah. No, I'm making myself sound a lot more good at this than I am. I'm probably like the goal is always to be 80-20, right? Right now, truth be told, I'm probably more at 70-30 because I've just been like really busy with work stuff, and we do order in, but we're good at ordering things that are like the least of the problem. My issue is wine. Like, wine is so delicious. And I just love it so much. But like I'll drink wine, like I'll drink like a couple glasses of wine a couple times a week. So it's not like crazy, but no, but then sometimes like I'll have like a full bottle if we like go for dinner and we're like done our food and we're like, "Oh, but we're having so much fun. Like let's just like get a bottle and go home, and like we'll drink another bottle." Once in a while, that'll be our vibe as well. My husband and I are foodies. We love going to restaurants. So it's probably like 70-30, but I'm trying to reel it back to the 80-20.
Awesome. What is like the most naughtiest food that you are like, that is like my guilty pleasure?
Oh, pasta. Any and all pastas. Yeah, yeah. We'll like order 3 pastas and share them.
No way.
We'll order like 1 pasta each, and then we'll share them, and then instead of getting dessert, we'll get a 3rd pasta.
Well, now I know what to send you for your birthday, just a lot
Yes,
of pasta.
that's all I need. Literally, give me a jar of like homemade like Nona sauce and some pasta. That's all I need.
You're not like, I need a Twix or a
No, no,
Snickers.
no, no. We don't eat. We don't eat. I'm not like one for. I love like So the one like little treat that I do love is those. They're like ice cream sandwiches, but it's like coconut milk. It's not like milk. Like it's like coconut ice cream instead of milk ice cream.
Okay.
And they're like 100 calories. And so sometimes I'll buy a box of those and I'll have like one of them.
Finally, she said something that's remotely like
No, you guys, like I'm
naughty.
making myself, I don't like, I'm not one to like buy chips because I'll eat them. Like I don't buy stuff like that because I know I'll eat the whole thing.
Oh,
But
that's smart.
no, our like guilty thing is like going out for dinner, drinking too much wine, and then yeah, that's our thing. We're not much into like sweets or snacks.
It's pretty healthy. I think probably just the wine. I guess that would be your guilty pleasure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So tell me, I asked this to all my guests in a very different way. Like it could be different for like whatever the category is or whatever conversation is, but like what is one thing that you would have told your younger self now, like today, like the Amber that is here talking to me today, 2021, after all the work that you did, all the shadow crap that all the muck and the swamp, like what would you have told that Amber before you got here? Like one piece of advice, like if you could go like teleport back to like
Yeah.
the girl that was partying and eating pizza at
Yeah.
4 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah, I think for me, it comes back to like the accountability. And then on top of that, it's like accountability is not like self blame, though. It's not like shaming yourself, or it's not like this is my fault. It's I have the power to change this. And I think that I've been, even though I was in victim mode for a long time, I also was hiding or kind of masking that the truth of what I felt was everything's my fault and that I'm bad, and that I held on to a lot of guilt and shame. And then to offset that, I would blame other people because it felt better to blame them than to carry the heavy burden and the negative self-talk and all of that was already going on inside my head. It's like there was no more of that I could possibly add in. So I think the accountability piece, and then also we manifest the way that people treat us. So it's not like, so with accountability it's kind of like a few different things. Like it's owning that you have the power to change the situation. And then if you're in victim mode and you're blaming the way someone else is treating you, I'm not saying they're treating you well and you're taking it the wrong way. I'm not saying that at all. But the way that you treat yourself is going to be a direct reflection of the way other people are treating you. So I still, like to this day, like, in marriage, sometimes there's ups and downs. And so if we're kind of like in a bit of a rut, I'll write down like 5 ways that I want to be treated. And then I'll intentionally every day treat myself that way. Wow. And I swear it's like a magical voodoo situation where people like, where like not just my husband, but all of a sudden people are like treating me this way. And it's because I've shown up for myself, and that's the energy that I've created in my aura and in my field. And that's what my energy is now responding to and opening up to. So that's like it. And I got intentional. Like I would literally like write down the 5 ways every single morning in my journal. Okay, how am I going to spoil myself? How am I going to honor myself today? How am I going to support myself today? How am I going to listen to myself today? And then intentionally bringing that energy into your day. We are the creators of our own energy. We're the creators of everything. And when we can take accountability of creating our own energy, like we could literally close our eyes and just be like, okay, I'm going to make myself feel like the most abundant goddess ever. And you can, like, your brain doesn't know the difference as to whether it's happening or it's not, right? So then the vibration, you literally change your vibration. And this is a chakra thing as well. So it's like in our root chakras, we get clear on how we want to feel. Then in our sacral chakra is where we allow the emotion to come up. And then in our solar plexus chakra is where we vibrate outwards. And then in the heart chakra is where we co-create with the universe, and we are like giving and receiving that energy. Throat chakra, we're speaking it into existence. Third eye chakra, we're following the guidance and listening to the guidance to answer those questions for us and to guide us on our path. And then the crown chakra is the manifestation. So, when we can own that process, and we know that we can create and have anything that we want.
I'm going to make a list for myself.
Yeah. Within like days, things will change.
What is the craziest thing that you have manifested by doing this? I have to ask you.
I would say the first time that I did this was when I was feeling not supported. And again, my own doing because I don't let people support me. And we actually, okay, so this is, I'm going to tell kind of 2 chapters of this story. Was I manifested my husband being like, hey, why don't I quit my job and work in your business and help you? Which was good and bad. But that in itself was like, wow, okay. Like, why didn't we think of this sooner? And like, I just never thought that would be a thing. And it's like going from a story of I'm not supported to now having someone putting their entire, energy into supporting you. Like, that's pretty amazing. The second chapter of that, when you change the dynamic of the relationship, I truly believe that whether it's a male-female relationship, male-male, female-female, there needs to be a balance of feminine and masculine energy. And for me, my innate energy is feminine. My mask energy is masculine. Like when I'm, in a place of fear is when I deflect to being predominantly masculine. And yes, so what we realized was, you can imagine in like working with your husband when you're like, using air quotes here, the boss, it kind of throws off that dynamic. And it was me being in my masculine more. And I mean, him, I don't want to speak for him, but I'm sure he felt like he was more in his feminine energy and didn't have that, maybe took away from some of his masculine power. Once we decided and realized that we needed to shift the dynamic, I was doing a ton of inner work on, okay, how can I embody my feminine so that he can change, so that he can embody his masculine. And I'm going to add in here one thing that Shaman Durek said on my podcast, which just like, it's like I knew, but I feel like he said it in such a perfect way, was that men are linear, women are quantum. And so when I change my energy, his energy changes. So when I could get more into my feminine, he automatically reclaims his masculine. So I took accountability of that. And again, like, how do I want to feel? How does my feminine feel? How does me being in my feminine feel? And then what are the things I can do to feel that way? And then that all of a sudden he started, doing some investments and doing some little side projects. And then it was like, okay, like you actually don't, like, you're like, go do your thing. Like, and I'm going to hire someone. And it was like the most perfect little switch for us as soon as we acknowledged that the dynamic was off. we were able to just make some tiny energy shifts, and then it shifted things financially and then structurally in my business. So it's like our energy literally creates situations like this that allow us to feel into that true self. So when we can acknowledge that innate energy and how we want to feel, and we can just make those small little shifts energetically, then that's when we can receive our true essence, and the true essence of how our life is meant to be.
But we spoke about this. I'm on Clubhouse a lot. and I speak to about 500 to 1,000 women a day on there.
Wow.
And you're not the only one who had the very similar experience, especially now during the pandemic when women, beauty, all this spiritual stuff is booming.
Yeah.
And the men want to support, but they don't know the roles change, and the energy shift is real.
Yeah. So I read a book called Intimate. So this is another interesting thing. So my husband was reading The Way of the Superior Man by David Dida. And I had heard of some other book, and that was about, balancing the feminine and the masculine in the relationship. So I bought it, and it was called Intimate Communion. And then we were reading, every morning we drink our coffee and read. And I glanced over at his book, and I was like, oh my God, it's the same author. It was just totally ironic. And so I was like, okay, this is there's another sign, we're really meant to be doing this. So yeah, I mean, I think there was a big, especially in this online space, I feel like there was a big kind of FOMO trend going on of I retired my husband, and everyone wanted to do it, and myself included. I was oh, that's it's an ego thing almost, right? Oh, I could do that. And then I was oh, I really didn't think this through. And I don't want to say that we didn't get along or that we worked poorly together, because that's not the case. It just literally shifted the dynamic of the energy.
No, and that listen, and the way that I see it, it's if you and I are having this conversation, and then someone comes in and starts talking about donuts, right? The energy shifts, and we're it's not that we didn't like that person and they didn't work well with us. It was just we're talking about energy and beauty.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Not donuts.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the energy I think that you're talking about. It's not that you guys were bickering or anything like that.
No.
It was just that the synergy was off, because you said, the masculine and female energy, feminine energy were just, misplaced.
Yeah, totally.
If that's the right word.
There may be women who actually do feel more at home in masculine energy, and men that feel more comfortable in feminine energy, and that's fine too. People might want that dynamic. And again, in a female-female relationship or male-male relationship, there's so many different ways it could look, but there needs to be balance. And of course, everyone is going to have both energies. I'm going to have masculine and feminine. He's going to have masculine and feminine, but it's just about meshing them at the right place at the right time, little puzzle pieces.
Yeah. And something that I heard that you said in between the lines, I heard safety, right? You didn't feel safe. So as women, sometimes we can't be in our femininity because we don't feel safe.
Exactly.
So we act from a state of fear, which puts us in masculine. And people don't get that. And so, and the man's job is to build that fence around you and make sure that you're the flower in the middle, and nothing is running you over, chopping you down, and so that you can be in the feminine and he can be in his masculine, creating that safety, those boundaries for you.
When people lived in these castles and in these communes, it was the female's job to be the intuitive and to know when and where the intruders were coming, and then they would direct the men to go and do the protecting. So it was the females were, their main job was to just harness their intuition, and then the man's job was to kind of go and be the doer. So it's kind of interesting, that kind of reminded me of that analogy of the flower and it is meant to, feminine energy is meant to be protected by masculine energy. And then actually that brings us to our point of when we get into our own masculine and our own fear, it's as soon as we sniff some fear, we're like, we got to protect ourselves. We got to put that fence up. We got to put those walls up.
Yeah, that's so funny. I wish we could went back to those days a little bit. I would like to just like harness
No.
energy and like
Chill in a castle and like, come on. And then go do the work.
oh man, I love that. Okay. So this brings us down to brag time, where you get to not be humble and brag about what you're doing, the work that you do. Tell us everything. Like tell us all.
Okay, so I'm gonna brag. I want to like kind of brag about my clients a little bit. So what I help women do is I help women find their purpose in their innate self by unblocking their chakras, and then B, actually like go out there and start the business. So and by start the business, I mean live your purpose. Like I truly believe that everyone has a purpose to be of service in some way. And especially I assume women listening to this podcast are women who have an inclination towards spirituality. Typically we've been through some shit, and I feel like people who've been through it are people I believe that are then meant to serve and help people who have who are going through it and haven't gotten to the other side. So it's like we were strong enough to get to the other side, and now we get to empower others to know that they're strong enough too. We work with yoga teachers, we work with nutritionists, we work with all kinds of gurus and experts. So yeah, I mean Chakra Girl Business School is where we're helping our clients just really be of service, and by like I said before, like for me, starting my business was the beginning of my journey, because it was like it forces you to work through all your shadows. Like you have to, like you can't have a business without going through like a lot of darkness while you're building it, because fear of being seen, fear of putting yourself out there, fear of judgment, fear of what if I'm not good enough, fear of failure, like all of those things are going to come.
Fear of success.
Fear of success, exactly. Fear of our own power. And I actually saw a quote. It was actually one of my clients. I'm going to give her a shout out. Her name is Anita, and her program or her business is called The Midwitch. So she's like an energetic birth keeper. So she like helps women that are pregnant. Anyways, she made this post that said, I have a feeling some women fear freedom more than control. That is so true. So yeah, so to your point, fear of success, fear of your own freedom, because you're so comfortable being where you are. So yeah, a lot of fears come up, and those are all chakra blocks. So we work through the chakras and help you do that. So yeah, just helping women be of purpose. That's my jam.
Anything else you have going on that we should be on the lookout for?
Okay, so it's like we're nowhere near launching, and I really haven't even announced it yet, but I am actually launching an online magazine as well. So if you follow me on Instagram, it's like I'm calling it like Chakra Girl's older sister. And it's just like kind of, Chakra Girl is really for people who, helping them start their business, but, the other business called Prism, and it's about reflecting light on our innate power. And that's more for like the woman who is already, on her journey, and it's, she's already woken up, and we're just helping her with beauty and spirituality and rituals and stuff like that. So be on the lookout for that.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. By the way, this is like a full circle moment for me, because you said that you wanted to be in fashion and you wanted to, and now
I know
you are the editor of your own magazine.
And you know how I said to you before we started recording, I was like, if every day could be a photo shoot, that would be my dream. I'm like, that's all I want to do is I'm going to have photo shoots, and I'm going to have models, and I'm going to direct photo shoots, and just being this is me being in my creativity. In business, like in Chakra Girl, I'm in my masculine. I'm talking about business. Like I'm helping people with their businesses, and there's a lot of strategy involved in that, but I'm also helping people with the spiritual stuff, of course. Prism is going to allow me to be more in my feminine and more in my creativity, and that's what Prism is really about, is helping, like shining light on our true innate just essence and inner goddessness.
Which Kardashian were you when you were 20?
Oh.
And which Kardashian are you today?
Okay, so I'm going to say, if anyone watched Life of Kylie, this was like Kylie before she was like before she was a billionaire. Like, this was Kylie when she was, I think, just starting her makeup empire. I just watched that and I cringed a little bit because she was just like not appreciative of anything. Like, her mom was basically running the business for her and she was so unappreciative, like on her phone all the time, and just so, yeah, that I cringed because I was like, that was me. Like, that was 100% me. Maybe now I'm Kim, like starting a beauty empire, and like I like that she does a variety of things. Like Kylie today has her like makeup line and her skincare. I love that Kim does so many things, and she's a lawyer, and she's this, so I feel like with Prism, I eventually, I want, that's going to become an empire. Like, we want to have a clothing line. We want to have a beauty line. We want to have, everything under that umbrella. So I love it. That's where we're going. I love that.
Are you going to manifest Kim in your magazine?
Funnily enough, one of our goals is to have her on we're going to do, a launch summit. So Amazing. One of our goals is to have her on our launch summit.
Yeah, I could see that. Write it in your piece of paper. It's going to happen.
Yeah, it's happening.
It's happening. Totally. Okay. You spoke about your school. So anything else that you wanted to share with us, with our listeners? Anything that you wanted to...
One thing, if people are new to chakras, I have a chakra quiz. And it's just a fun little, don't take it too seriously. There's Mean Girls references and Spice Girl references. It's just a fun pop culture quiz. But at the end, you will find out which chakra is the most blocked, and then you can start on your own chakra journey. I always say our bodies are our best textbooks, and I just think it's starting to learn about our own energy and using our chakras as these kind of tools to even self-diagnose where we're going wrong, or where things aren't feeling good, and then being able to pinpoint that specific chakra and do specific rituals and meditations for that chakra. That's just it can be fun, and it can be, a self-discovery, and it's also just so effective. So knowing where to start and knowing, what chakra is the most blocked and starting to recognize those patterns is the first step. So it's quiz.chakragirlco.com.
Okay, I'm going to take it also and see I wonder what it's going to say about me. Thank you so much for being on here. This was fun. Kylie and Kim, I have them both on the podcast. I had the different versions of you on here. So thank you so much for coming on here. This was fun. I hope when you have Prism that I'm going to get to interview you again.
Oh, yeah. I'm already prepping to ask to have an article on coffee enemas that you're going to write for us.
You got it. I said it on the air. You got it. Yes. I'll be your coffee enema person. No, just kidding.
Yes,
the beauty.
Perfect.
I'll be your beauty person.
Yes, perfect.
Thank you, Amber, so much for being with us. And where can we find you? Where can anyone reach you?
Yeah, so Instagram is the best place. It's at Chakra Girl Co. And then my podcast is Chakra Girl Radio on all the podcast places.
That was simple.
Yeah, that's it.
All right. Well, bye. Talk to you next time.
Thanks.
Guys, what an episode with Amber. Really, truly check out her socials. Show her some love on Instagram. And we cannot wait to see what else she's doing. And if you are enjoying this podcast, if you know anyone who's interested in being a fly on the wall in the conversations that I have with my friends and with influential people in various industries, and know about their beauty stories or just about them in general, please be sure to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. And do me a favor, message this podcast to 5 other people who you think would find this very helpful. And that would not only help them, but it would also help me to create more content and bring more guests on the show so that you can have value and have an amazing, beautiful Wednesday day. Till next time, bye.